He that saves little by little, it will add up to be much. That's what the Bible says. It's a Bible verse. So guys out there, totally save your money. Save your money for many reasons. One reason is you want to buy a house. Another reason is one of the top 5 needs in marriage from a woman to a man is financial support. Someone says, that's your opinion. Well, there's a book called His Needs, Her Needs, How to Have an Affair-Proof Marriage from Willard H. Harley. And he said the stuff that he found in there wasn't his opinion. It's from over 25 years of marriage counseling. So those are the statistics he found. So that wouldn't be considered an opinion. That would be considered facts, statistics, which people like Ben Carson or Ben Shapiro will call it facts. Because if the data shows that, that's what it is, you know. So again, men out there, save your money. And people might say, well, I don't make a lot of money, this and that. Doesn't matter. The Bible can't, Jesus can't lie. And if he says something, that's what it is. If he says, he that saves little by little, it will add up to be much, then that will be a truth. So men, save your money. It's super valuable super important in life to buy a house. I believe it's the #1 most biggest / expensive purchase you'll ever make in your life. So save, don't pay attention to others, don't whatever, you just save. And you can save, not only save your money, your extra money each month on your paychecks, but you can also save indirectly by, don't buy those fancy cars, you'll save on not having a car payment. You know, start out with a cheap car, pay for it cash, save up money. You can save on, don't rent an expensive place, rent a cheap place. See, that cuts your costs on car payment, cuts your costs on rent. You can save all over the place. And someone says, well, that's your opinion. Okay, let me go to someone who's an expert, the economic ninja. He was well-to-do, and even after he became a millionaire, even today, as of about a year and a half ago, he said he was almost a billionaire. And I just watched one of his I watch his videos all the time, but I watched a video last week, I believe it was, and he said in the video he still is very conservative on stuff. He's just that way. He's got that, which is a great mindset. If you look and talk to people or videos or hear about people from the Great Depression, yeah, obviously it's going to be not as many of those people alive from the from about 1929, but they have this way about them. They're very conservative. They even older people who weren't alive then, they'll have it from their parents or grandparents. They'll pick up on these ways that were caught by being around people. They're more behaviors are more caught than taught, they say. And so men, you really want to save. Be conservative on all kinds of things. You don't got to buy that. You can get by without it, and save that money. It's going to add up. Let's see. You don't have the, and certain things are very important. You know, that's important. Say you work at a job and you're standing on your feet all day. Okay, it may be important to buy I think it is important to buy a good pair of shoes that have support your feet in the front and the back. Like let's say there's some types of Asics or Nikes that have air in the front and the back, or Asics calls it a different word. I don't know if it's Eoprene or something, or whatever. It's in the front and the back, but those shoes cost a lot more, way more. It used to be less, but in the last approximately 10 years, let me see, approximately 10, 15 years, they've skyrocketed in price. As you guys have known, all kinds of things skyrocketed in price. You used to be able to buy a good t-shirt years and years ago for 15 bucks. Now I see a good t-shirt, the only one I can see is a good t-shirt, 55 bucks. Just last year, about the same t-shirt, it was 50 bucks for one t-shirt. So you guys have all seen the inflation skyrocketing. Much more the reason why you should save. So women also very important to save. You know, you might say, some women may say, well, I'll meet a guy and he'll have money. Well, these days maybe a lot of women say they'll do it on their own, but some women will say, I'll meet a guy and he'll provide, which to a certain degree they're accurate. And even the other way, you know, until they do meet a guy, or even if they don't, it's still that would make it even more important that they save so they can buy their own house. But it's, a woman can save by, let's say, they don't need to, same thing. They don't need to drive such a fancy car, or to have such a fancy house or apartment to rent, or even to buy. You know, I mean, I know if you have the money, then it's okay. If you have the money, you can buy much more nicer things. But I still lean on the economic ninja, where he says he has all these things and he's still very conservative, which if you ask me, of course, you probably know where I'm going to go with this, is if you have more, I'd say give more. And the ninja talks about that too, of tithing, so huge on tithing. But so if you have a lot more, you can give more to help people. Well, if you're real wealthy, to give more, meaning, well, that's kind of going on a tangent. But anyways, you can give more, and of course I'll say definitely tithe, since we're on the subject of saving in reference of money, or not buying things so expensive to save money and to not create debt. There's another one right there. The Bible says have no debtors. So I will say buying a house is one thing I've heard from people. I don't know if it was Carlton Sheets. He was a super successful real estate guy years ago, still is, I'm sure, but years ago, I had his, my mom bought me, she got at a yard sale, a pack of Carlton Sheets CDs or DVDs, whatever, and she knew I would like it, and I did. And I learned something super valuable on there. That one thing on there allowed me to do something that, and all those, I listened to them multiple times, and one thing allowed me to do something that I didn't know I could do, and helped another person. And I think it made me, I want to say, that was years ago, not a lot of money, but it was a lot to me. I don't know if it was $9,000 or $13,000, just by one thing, you know. Okay, again, it's just jump around here. I don't have it all. I'm just jumping around. I can't be as good as Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk at just free talking things. So I'm just going to keep, I guess, free talking, whatever you want to call it. Save. It's so important. So important. And the older you get, the more you'll realize how valuable it is. And looking back to recognize how much you could have saved and what you could have done with it and what it could have done for you, versus when you're younger and you didn't know those things were so doable, or how things would change over time and prices on homes would change. You know, they go, as the ninja says, they go up and down cycles. But the ninja, yeah, he drove a car that was super cheap, he said, for years, and he could have afforded a very expensive one. He knew a bunch of people where he worked that drove expensive ones and bought houses when they couldn't afford it. They made fun of him for driving a cheap car, and he'd say, it saves me gas. And so they'd put change on the ground below his muffler, his tailpipe, whatever, and he'd pick it up. He even to this day, and I think in the last week or two, I heard a video, he said he still pick up a penny or a nickel on the ground. So there's a good mindset right there, the economic ninja. And I think he's approximately 49 maybe right now. And he'll pick up a penny, and he's almost a billionaire, and he'll pick up a penny or a nickel, okay? And it's not because he's unwise or foolish, it's because, in fact, he is very wise. And it's the right mindset too, and in many ways, not to be too proud, and to be humble, and to set an example, and the value of money. You know, you can look in it different ways. Like, let's say, well, in the Bible it says not to waste food, or let nothing be wasted. What's the big deal? See, Why would it be a big deal if you can just let the food go bad? But remember, after Jesus fed different times, one time he fed like 4,000 people, another time 5,000 people, and he said, pick up the rest, let nothing be wasted. Pick up the leftover, let nothing be wasted. See, that's a form of saving right there, guaranteed. So save wherever you can save. Let's see. If something's not necessary, there's a lot of people that'll buy expensive food, all over the place. When don't pay attention to their food costs and stuff, and it skyrockets the amount of money that's spent on food. Taking trips. Well, who used to say that? I'm trying to remember who it was that talked about. I think it was the Ninja years ago that said, I don't know if it'll come to me here when I'm talking to you, but someone said, go, oh, no, that was another guy. It was another economic guy who was a multimillionaire, heavy millions. And he said, and I'm purposely not mentioning his name because he's way into, I'm not going to mention his name, unless I mess up. He's way into money and does things that, I was told by, the economic ninja. He does things, he'll say for you to do things so he can make money off it, but he don't do it himself, Don't want to do that. But he did, I think it was him though that said, don't go out to dinner and stuff like that if you're in debt. You're spending money when you're still in debt. You should be paying off debt, because when you go out to dinner, any of us knows going out to dinner costs a lot of money. You can eat way more inexpensive by going to the grocery store, buying stuff, and making dinner and food that way. Where going out just skyrockets the amount. He said, don't go out to dinner when you have debt. Pay off your debt and save money. And so anyways, also when you I was going to say something else, but I want to stick on the subject more of saving money. So save, it'll add up. People don't need to go to college and build up all that debt, unless there's a few types of categories that to go to college, like Charlie Kirk said, it's a waste of money, except like say you're going to be in science, that's different. That's a subject that's okay to go to college. And I think he said also to be, I think it was a doctor and attorney. But for most categories, don't need to go to school and make up all that money. And many people change their what's it called? Their main thing they go to college for. I can't remember what it's called. It's on the tip of my tongue. Their major. They go in their major. That many or most don't stick with that. And there's tons of things to make money on, and all kinds of trades. Trade schools, an electrician, a plumber, and there's many others, construction work, becoming a contractor, all kinds of things, or a trade school. But yes, saving money is so valuable. Not getting into debt. Many people get into debt. Okay, women not getting into debt and college debt. Because not me, but many men won't marry you because some won't even date you because of such debt. But it can be paid off, but many won't. There's all kinds of doctors. I heard statistics on doctors who have massive debt, and they still, after getting done with their medical school and all that, they'll still keep debt when they get out of it and don't pay it off. There's a lot of people who make a lot and then they spend a lot and have a lot of debt. Those were told to me from people who are way successful. And a matter of fact, Ben Shapiro, his wife's a doctor, and it was 200 or 220 plus thousand, and Ben Shapiro paid it all off, which is okay. See, he married someone. Well, I don't know when she got that debt, before he met her or after or during. I don't know really, but Ben Shapiro, he's excessively successful. He got a degree in law school. Was an attorney. I don't know if he's still legally an attorney or what. I don't know, but he got a law degree. He was an attorney, but now he's so successful at being the number 2 or number 1, because when what's that guy's name that died, number 1 talk show in America, Rush Limbaugh, at that time Ben Shapiro was a number 3, I think, best. Now he's number 2 or 1, and he all does his YouTube stuff, everyone in debates. He's really successful at everything. Massive book reader, and very good guy. Learned a lot from him. But you don't want debt. Save. So women, you build that debt from college, and a lot of men won't want to marry you or get involved because of the debt. And a lot of women mistake this. I might make a video one day, but a lot of women think that because all these guys will want to be involved with them or date them, they think they could have potential to get married anytime they want. They don't realize that those men don't want them for the right reason, meaning to marry. They want them only to have good times. You know, in the worldly view, not in my opinion, but in the worldly view, they want them for fooling around and stuff. You know, but not to marry. But many women don't realize this. They're not a man. They don't know that all these men might say, "Oh yeah, they're good looking. I want to date them and all this and go out with them." But they have this in their mind. They think, "Hey, you know what? Look, I can see all these guys still want me," but they don't know what the reasons for. But they don't want them for marriage. So that's a huge. It's an enormous difference in wanting them for marriage or not marriage. So they're throwing away time. Well, they think because of that, they think, oh, I got all day because look, I got all kinds of years because these guys, tons and tons and tons of guys want me, so I can get married any day, any year, any age. It's not true. They only want them, and they're carrying on in a wrong behavior, thinking they got time, years, and they don't. But they miscomprehend it for I can get married anytime. No, what it is they can fool around with guys anytime, but not get married. The guys will take them and want them, but not for marriage. So that's a huge error. You can watch a video. I heard he's not alive. I think on one video, I don't know if it was him or some other person that copied his videos, Kevin Samuels. And he'll talk. That's one of his about the whole thing. He made a YouTube channel. He's had over 1 million followers, and he talks about that where women mistake men wanting them to marry when really they didn't. They only want them for fun, fooling around, good times in the world. In the world's eyes, it calls it. The Bible doesn't call it good times. It'd call it fornication, fooling around, but not marriage. And so these women carry on and they're misrecognized, and they carry on as if they got all the time in the world. And so sad, unfortunately, they'll pass up so many years and value of their youth, and the further they go, the more fouled up in deep water they get, and less chance to recover, from it, to be able to be married. And Kevin Samuels breaks it down really. That guy's really smart in a lot of senses. I don't agree with everything he says, but a lot of things I agree with, and he's spot on. So women can save by not getting college debt and expensive cars, and women are it's not a put down. Women enjoy nice. It's more important to women to have nice things on average than men. Men look at things different, and it doesn't make one or the other better than the other. Neither is better. The Bible doesn't say anywhere that he thinks men are better people or women are better people or children. We're all just people. But there's different orders, like God, man, women, then children. But look, it doesn't mean children are the least important. No way at all. It's just an order of how things run, like that God's the head of men, men's the head of women, women, you could say the head of children, but it doesn't mean women are more valuable than children. It's just an order, so no one's better than the other. But it's still, there's many things in life that are beneficial for us people, and for women, don't get big debt, because it puts you in a big hole unnecessarily, where women think they got to go get these degrees and make a bunch of money and all that, when really there's millions and millions of men that would want to marry them. But since the women don't, or all people don't go over the Bible like we should, and so, but in reference to the gender of females, they don't recognize that there's millions and millions of men that they could marry. Not each woman, but you know what I mean. Women can marry men from 18 on, and guys will do everything to work hard and take care of them. And who is it? Charlie Kirk mentioned about how, I'm going all over the place, but it's all about, it has to do with money. Charlie Kirk mentioned how, watch this, has to do with money, how men, when they get married, it's like an instinct or something inside them. It just kicks in. They just go into another multiple levels. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring in another thing. Stephen Covey, he's dead now, but he was really brilliant. He wrote a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and he calls it synergization. When 1 and 1 come together, and it doesn't equal 2, 1 and 1 can equal 5, 7, 20, 50, 80, meaning a man and a woman gets married, and so they both multiple X each other. They can 10X each other by what each other does for the other. It's even the Bible talks about it. It says when a man and a woman comes together, it's how does the Bible term it? Something like it's a mystery. Something like he says it's a mystery. When they come together, they become one, and they become one. They leave their parents. Kind of know what I mean. But so Stephen Covey says synergization, when a man and a woman comes together and they multiply each other. So, but the man, as Charlie Kirk said, he will become like instinctive, and he just gets into like a zone where he works so hard to provide for him and children that they will have usually, and he gets kind of like this will sound a little funny, but becoming, let's say, you could say he become from like a Toyota Corolla to a Corvette, a 2026 Corvette, or a full size Chevy pickup, where he gets multiplied. He just goes into he becomes a whole different human in certain aspects, and he'll work so hard to provide. And in general, sure, there's some men that unfortunately won't be the way we ought to be, but so I'm referencing the women don't have to become all these things to make so much money and get a degree in all this, where it's actually backwards. The first thing by far would be get married and have children. 2 brilliant guys who talk about that. You think, don't have to take it from me. I'll mention 2 massively high IQ and successful guys. One is dead, Charlie Kirk, and the other is Ben Shapiro. And they say super important, or one of the most important things in your life, they both said, is to get married and have children. Ben Shapiro, I think, has 5 kids, 4, at least 4, but I think maybe 5. And so he's already got kids and knows it and stuff. Sure, it's expensive. I didn't say it wasn't, but go forward. God will provide. A lot of people might think that's an unwise statement. I'm going to say, get in the Bible, read the Bible, and tithe and pray and do those things and do the best you put into practice what it says. So that way you will have God's mathematical or biblical support by doing that, and just work to doing the right thing. I can't guarantee you won't get in a car wreck and die today or this and that, but you're going to have your best odds, as I'll always say, with everything, going, following Jesus and doing His ways, and have no debtors. He that saves little by little, it will add up to be much.